Hey, my friends, welcome to Breaking the Cycle. My name is Tracy, and I am a licensed therapist in long-term recovery. And Breaking the Cycle is where I share my experiences and tips to help you build a happy and successful life after addiction. So today's video is a really important video, and I feel like I say that about a lot of different videos, but it's true because we're going to be talking about another one of the most common causes of relapse, and especially what causes relapse within that first 90 days, like we talked about in our last video, which is the most common time for relapses within the first 90 days of abstinence. So we're going to be talking about what that is, why it happens, and what you can do about it. Real quick before we get started, I do just want to let you know that we hit 700 today. Again, I know not a huge feat in terms of YouTube in general. To me, like I'm picturing 700 people in a room actually liking what I am putting out there. That's pretty amazing to me. So it is a big feat to me. 700 is a big feat to me. And so I just want to say thank you guys. Thank you guys for helping me get to 700 and for giving me that little nudge of support so I keep going. It is my dream to be able to put out more and more content. I really want to start some support groups here soon. I would love to be able to create an app and put like all of my tips and tricks in recovery, like kind of in a step-by-step daily app. But apparently it costs a lot of money to make an app. So that's not going to happen quite yet, but someday. If you would like to check me out on any other platforms, I do have Instagram and Facebook. I do view my Instagram as kind of a daily challenge. So check me out over there if you are interested in very quick, 5 minutes or less action steps that you can take every day to help you start improving your mental health today. So if you think back to a time when you were able to get clean, but then relapsed again, can you identify what caused that relapse for you? Can you identify some of the struggles that you faced after you got clean? I know one of the big ones for me and for a lot of people is feeling like in recovery. Not only feeling like, but feeling like for a long time after you've been clean. Like to the point where you're sitting here thinking like, okay, I'm clean now. I should be feeling healthier. I should be starting to feel on top of the world, but I don't. I feel horrible mentally and physically. This can't be how it's supposed to be. Maybe I'm just one of those people who are not meant to be clean, or my body's changed too much. I just can't do it without the drugs. Yes, one of the biggest problems in early recovery is feeling like crap physically and mentally. This can be anywhere from fresh in recovery to up to 18 months into recovery. So that's where it becomes a problem, right? Like we can deal with it for a couple weeks. We can deal with it while we're detoxing or whatever. But after that, we expect to feel better. And sometimes we do feel better. That is what is referred to as the pink cloud effect. Sometimes we do feel better right after we get clean. We feel better physically and we're kind of riding this high of being clean. I did it. I made it through detox. This is great. But then that crashes and we go back to feeling like crap. And that makes it really, really hard when your body and your mind are not cooperating with you, especially if you are someone who has a job or has children or things like that. It's very, very hard for you to wake up and feel fatigued, have low mood, low energy, your body to be achy and sore every single day for months. That's enough to send anybody back into relapse, right? So this is a problem that I think is not addressed enough. So, just to give you some context, let me take a minute to explain why you often feel like crap physically and mentally in your first months of recovery. I'm also going to link below this video the source where I got this information. It is a very, very informative video on the effects that drugs have on the brain and what you can do to fix it. It's really eye-opening. And if you've not seen it, I highly suggest that you do see it, whether you are in recovery or not. So if you are in recovery, you have probably at some point heard of dopamine, right? Maybe your treatment center talked about it. You've probably heard me talk about it. Somebody at some point has talked about dopamine to you, most likely. If they haven't, then I will tell you dopamine is a neurotransmitter in our brain. And dopamine is responsible for our motivation. It is responsible for our get up and go, our survival, basically. Our dopamine is what gets us out of bed in the morning and gets us moving and gets us doing what we need to do to go through our day and survive our lives. All of us have the neurotransmitter dopamine, but when we use drugs, that neurotransmitter is very highly impacted. So before we use drugs, we have a baseline where our dopamine usually functions. That's where we typically are able to get out of bed and have a normal day. This is normal dopamine functioning. Now, when we do things like eat really good food or have sex or go ride a roller coaster or things like that, then our dopamine skyrockets and we feel even better. We feel even happier. We feel even more motivated. But the problem is that when we do drugs, drugs of any kind, including alcohol, heroin, fentanyl, all of the above, but especially amphetamine and those types of drugs, they cause your dopamine functioning to skyrocket. And I don't just mean skyrocket to the level of riding a roller coaster or winning the lottery, even. I mean, it causes them to skyrocket way, way higher than a human's dopamine functioning should ever be. Sorry, my puppy is attacking the vacuum in the background. He's doing good so far. I'm gonna tell you though, he's a mean puppy. They say, oh, Australian Shepherds are like such great dogs. They're really eager to please their owners. They're great family dogs. Mine is not. Mine is mean. He is a biter. He bites everybody, and if I try to correct him, he snaps at me, and he's got some attitude going on. So he's not the sweet little innocent puppy that I thought that he was going to be. He's given us a run for our money, that's for sure. Okay. Sorry, where was I? When we use drugs, our dopamine functioning skyrockets way past normal levels of dopamine functioning, which is all good, right? That's why we feel so good when we're on drugs. That's why we want to keep using drugs. When our dopamine is up that high, it feels good. We feel very motivated. We feel very energized. We're ready to roll. We're ready to do it. But here's the problem. When we stop using, our dopamine functioning doesn't just go back to normal. Instead, it drops way, way below normal human functioning. So low that we enter a point where we can't get out of bed. We don't have any motivation to do the things that we need to do. We don't care anymore. We don't get excited about things anymore. Normal things, riding a roller coaster doesn't excite us anymore. That's gone. And that's a problem because then we can't get out of bed. This is when we start to have those symptoms. Our whole body feels tired and achy and fatigued and in pain. This is where our head feels cloudy and fuzzy and we can't concentrate. We have no energy and no motivation and we're irritable and we have no patience for anything and we just want to stay in bed under the covers all day long. And that's a problem because we can't live our life like that, right? Not for very long anyway. Maybe for a day or two we can handle that, but not long term. They say that it can take up to 18 months for your brain to recover after addiction. So that means for all of the hormones and things and neurotransmitters and chemicals that got out of whack while you were in addiction, it can take up to 18 months for them to learn how to rebalance themselves and recover from addiction. And they will. Stopping using is definitely one way to help straighten out your dopamine functioning. Your body will start to produce dopamine on its own again, and you will get to a point where you feel normal and can get out of bed again. But number one, sometimes it takes a while for that to happen. And sometimes during that while, that's where relapse happens. And number two, even though our body can correct this and heal itself and start producing dopamine on its own again, it may never produce at the same level, the same baseline level that it did before our addiction, which means that we might be at a point where we always wake up feeling fatigued. It means that we might be at a point where normal things in life don't really excite us that much anymore. And while that is more manageable than not being able to get out of bed every day, it's still something that is very dangerous and can lead to relapse. It's still something that keeps us from having a happy and productive life. So if you find yourself in recovery, you're clean, but you're not enjoying anything in life. Your daughter's birthday party doesn't make you excited anymore. Going to your favorite restaurant doesn't make you excited anymore. Going down a water slide or on a roller coaster doesn't make you excited anymore. That's a problem, and that's a dangerous problem. So how do we fix that? Okay, we're in recovery. Our brain is healing. It's starting to learn how to produce dopamine on its own again, but we're still at a point where it's a struggle to get through the day. What can we do to fix that? Because we can't just deal with that for 18 months. Well, there's a simple answer for that, right? What your body is asking you for when it feels like that is more dopamine. That's essentially what a craving is. It's your body asking for more dopamine. So, if that's what your body is asking for is more dopamine, then let's give it to it. But let's give it to it in a way that, doesn't send you to prison, ideally. So there is a lot of things that you can do to help your body regulate its dopamine functioning. All puppies here. Hi, big boy. Here's Enzo. Hi, big boy. Hi, what are you doing? You coming to see mama? You coming to see mama? So I'm going to go through this list of things, but I want you to understand before I do that, doing something on this list one time is not going to fix the problem. Now, incorporating these things into your life every single day, that can help fix the problem. The more that we incorporate these things into our life, the better that will feel, both in the moment, because it's going to help us produce dopamine now, and in the long run, because it's also going to help our body regulate that dopamine functioning. So, the more that you do these things, the better off you will be. So, this can help you through a craving, number one, and it can also help you to improve functioning long term so that you feel better overall. Okay, now you're biting me. He bites hard. He's got tiny little puppy teeth, but they're like knives. Ow. Okay, you're distracting me, Enzo. So it's really, really important to pick a few of these that you feel like you can stick with and work them into your day every single day. Now, one of the first things that you can do is take supplements. There are a lot of different supplements that don't produce dopamine, but they help your body to improve dopamine functioning. And those supplements I'm going to list right here on the side as I'm talking. So some of these are supplements that you can find in your food that you eat every day, and some of them are things that you can buy in like a pill. Make sure you ask your doctor before you start any supplements. The second thing that you can do is exercise. Everybody knows that exercise makes you feel better, right? Everybody learned this in, ow, you are hurting me. Everybody learned this in Legally Blonde, right? When she said, I just don't think Brooke could have done this. Brooke runs an exercise group. Exercise gives you endorphins. Endorphins make you happy, and happy people just don't kill their husbands. They just don't. Well, she's kind of right. Exercise does give you endorphins. Exercise does help your body regulate its dopamine functioning. And exercising on a regular basis is one of the best ways to help your body heal in recovery. Being out in nature is another one. Cold exposure is another one. Doing an ice plunge, doing cryotherapy, even just turning on the cold water at the end of your shower for a little bit, or dipping your face in a bowl of ice water. Cold exposure kind of kickstarts all of the functions in your body, and that includes your dopamine functioning. Another one is trying new things. I have talked to you guys so many times before about why adventure is so important in recovery. This is just another reason why adventure is so important because it helps us to heal that dopamine functioning. Trying new hobbies, if we are traveling, if we are doing new things, and that doesn't have to mean traveling to Spain or going scuba diving or doing all these expensive things. It can be things as simple as going on a hike at the local woods or going to the fair that's in town, even if you don't usually go to fairs, just to try something new, hanging out with your friends, hanging out with people who make you laugh. All of those things help your body kickstart that dopamine functioning. I heard a statistic one time, and I don't have the source to back this up right now, but I heard that people who express their emotions in a regular conversation are 50% less likely to develop disease. That just shows how powerful talking to someone really is. And finding a way to incorporate one or two of these things on a regular basis will be a game changer when it comes to those first 16 months of recovery. I know that it sounds really simple. And you know what? It is really simple. The thing is that most ailments really are pretty simple. You go to the doctor for heart disease, he says your arteries are clogged. What is he going to ask you to do? What's the first thing that he's going to ask you to do? Sure, sometimes it's going to be a medication, but it's also going to be lifestyle changes. It's going to be getting exercise. It's going to be getting outside. It's going to be doing all of those things. Lifestyle changes are medicine. Lifestyle changes change us. I don't know why everybody always undermines lifestyle changes. I don't know why everybody always acts like lifestyle changes don't matter. Lifestyle changes are everything. Your lifestyle is everything, especially now that you are in recovery. The way that you choose to live, the choices that you make every day, and what you decide to do with your body and mind, that is what will determine if you're going to make it or not. So I know that it sounds simple, but please just go ahead and try this. Incorporate one or two of these things into your day on a regular basis and see how much it helps you. If you're ever going through a time when you're craving really bad, you can sit and go through the whole list, do all of them. I guarantee you'll beat that craving because you're going to kickstart that dopamine functioning on your own. Did you guys know this? I would love to know if this is common information that's out there or if people are not getting this information. If you guys have any questions about this, please drop them below. I really thank you guys for being here. I thank you guys for watching. I hope that this was helpful, and I will see you in my next one.